Well, speaking of businesses, Apple in the spotlight this week after they finally unveiled that long-awaited iPhone 10. But will the $1,000 device turn the company into the first trillion-dollar company? Let's bring in Adam Johnson, founder and author of Bullseye Brief. Hey, Adam, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Cheryl. And the answer to your question is yes, we are on our way to $1 trillion with this iPhone and a whole host of products. I love the story. I love the stock. It's cheap, and we should all be buying it.
Okay, so there you go. So there's your answer on that. But what about Samsung? I mean, they've got this new Note 8 coming out. There's been a lot of buzz that, sure, the American consumer loves the iPhone, but the global consumer is starting to pick Samsung over Apple. Does that worry you at all?
It's a fair point, and admittedly, this new Samsung product, I think in the first 5 days that it was on sale, outsold the previous Samsung product by something like 2.5 times. So demand is hot for this thing. But remember, also in the case of Samsung, they had that whole problem with the exploding phone on the previous generation, so you could argue there was some kind of pent-up demand. But focusing on Apple, some of the technology, yes, it's the same that you have in Samsung. But the facial recognition thing, this is a really big deal. And I'll tell you why. It's not just that it's a neat thing to do. It's that this is about pixelating images, where you actually take an image, chop it up into a bunch of little boxes, and then send it digitally along a cable. Why this excites me, Cheryl? That's how you actually start to make images possible for people who are blind. So I'm not saying that the iPhone is going to help the blind see, but my point is the technology embedded in the iPhone is incredibly exciting, and we're just tipping the iceberg here with this thing.
No, I mean, look at small children using iPads, and some say that's a learning tool. Other parents say it's just a way to keep the kids quiet. But let me ask you about the device itself. Yeah, exactly. But the device itself with the iPhone, I mean, the wireless charging, there's other components of this phone. It's almost becoming, a supercomputer in your hand. That seems to be why they can justify that $1,000 price tag.
Well, think about it this way, Cheryl. The iPhone, and I should say not the new one that's coming out, but actually the one a generation ago, had 5,000 times the computing power of the Apollo 11 spaceship. So, yes, you're absolutely right to call this thing a supercomputer. It's a supercomputer in your hand. So you know what? If you're worried about the price, this is the cheapest $1,000 supercomputer you're ever going to be able to buy.
Is there ever a point, Adam, where you would look at shares of Apple and say, okay, I'm going to wait and let it pull back a little bit? I mean, the stock is on a tear, but there's always, concern that it's overvalued still.
I know. It trades at about 18 times earnings right now. And you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, that's the same price as the S&P 500. So it's not cheap. Yes, but remember, they've got about $300 billion in cash. You take the cash out, this thing is actually trading at about 11 or 12 times earnings. And I'm sorry, but it's cheap with the growth that we're seeing out of Apple. I got guys into this stock about a year ago at $95 for a Bullseye Brief. Any dips, you buy.
I do read the Bullseye Brief, I will say. Adam, thank you very much. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Cheryl.